Palm Beach Motor Yachts, we build for those who lead. This comes from our history in competitive ocean racing, where advanced technologies and a spirit to win shape our every advantage on the water. We carry those lessons into every motor yacht that we design and build, using efficient and balanced hulls to deliver performance that feels effortless. Paired with meticulous craftsmanship and engineering, it creates a quiet confidence you can sense the moment you take the helm. Palm Beach Motor Yachts, from ocean racing innovation to cruising perfection.
Well, what makes the Newport Bermuda Race special is, first, it was the original race to Bermuda and started in 1906, so it's one of the oldest ocean races in the world. So it's a race with tremendous history. Fort Adams should be the Churchill Downs of offshore sailing. We'll have the start in Narragansett Bay, right in front of historic Newport, and bring the excitement of it to all the spectators.
You guys ready?
The Newport Bermuda Race is often called the Navigator's Race because it truly is a really interesting strategic and tactical challenge for navigators. You can get some incredibly violent conditions in those faster boats that are in the Gulf Stream. You are alone in this space that you need to figure out how to manage. And by the way, you're managing it just with wind. It takes an incredible amount of preparation to get a boat and a crew ready to participate in this race, because it is a really challenging race. And during the experience, you might be second-guessing yourself, but the satisfaction of finishing this challenging race is what brings people back again and again. And of course, arriving in Bermuda is not a bad way to finish a race too. Every second matters in this race, despite it being 100 hours long.
to make it out. But
At Palm Beach Motor Yachts, we build for those who lead. This comes from our history in competitive ocean racing, where advanced technologies and a spirit to win shape our every advantage on the water. We carry those lessons into every motor yacht that we design and build, using efficient and balanced hulls to deliver performance that feels effortless. Paired with meticulous craftsmanship and engineering, it creates a quiet confidence you can sense the moment you take the helm. Palm Beach Motor Yachts, from ocean racing innovation to cruising perfection.
can kind of make now. Once we get
They're just going to get across.
Newport, Rhode Island, one of the greatest sailing towns in the world, is host to the biennial start of the famed Newport Bermuda Race, the oldest and one of the most prestigious regularly scheduled international ocean races of all time. Now in its 120th year and 54th edition, this 636-mile nautical marathon attracts every manner of offshore adventurer. No matter the age, gender, background, or experience level, the ocean is always the great equalizer. And it only rewards the best in navigation, seamanship, and human endurance, and this edition, ladies and gentlemen, is no different. Hi, I'm Tucker Thompson. Welcome to the Starting Line Live show presented by Ørsted. We're going to be broadcasting here live at Fort Adams in Newport, Rhode Island. I'm joined by my good friend, Newport local and racing expert Andy Green. Out on the water, we've got Lauren Zeich. She's our offshore media reporter, and we're going to be bringing you every single race start. We've got lots of guests to join us as well, and our coverage is brought to you by Ørsted. And Andy, we also want to thank the Bermuda Race Foundation, who organizes and runs this iconic ocean race. Tell us a bit more about the foundation.
Well, first sailed in 1906. The Bermuda Race has become one of the premier offshore races in the world, and the Bermuda Race Foundation's mission is to promote national and international amateur sports competition and to serve as the organizing authority for this race. They conduct all the pre-race checks, have a navy of volunteers helping everyone race fast, fun, and most importantly, safely. And the Cruising Club of America is an authority on ocean racing. Its members are leaders in best practice of the sport, and the collaboration between Royal Bermuda Yacht Club and the CCA has been going on for 100 years. Royal Bermuda Yacht Club, founded in 1844, a bastion of yacht racing, hosting prestigious events from the Gold Cup, America's Cup, Sail GP, and most importantly today, the Newport Bermuda Race. And for the finish, it's the home of the dark and stormy cocktail, and we'll come to the weather and the post-race parties a little bit later.
And Lauren, you're out there on the water. You have got the best seat in the house today. It's great to have you with us. What are conditions like for the fleet out there on the starting line?
Thanks, guys. I may have the best view in the house, but I've got the bounciest view in the house. As you can tell, the wind is up. We've got some white caps going on the water here, but it's going to be an exciting day, and we can't wait to bring you all the action from down here. As you can see, some of the boats are milling around behind us, and the wind is only going to increase, and the seas are only going to get bigger as we go out throughout the day. I can't wait to bring you all the action.
I'm kind of a bit jealous that she's out there, Andy. Look at that. Great pictures live here in Newport.
Well, it is a picture-perfect day here in Newport. We've got 14 to 16 knots of breeze. We've got a huge crowd in Fort Adams, and we've got a southwesterly breeze. We've got a slight ebbing tide.
Yep. And for the next 2 hours, we're going to bring you all the action, as almost 150 boats scheduled to do this race in 17 classes will begin this ocean race over the next 10 starts. And Andy, the breeze is expected to build. So is the excitement here at Fort Adams. You saw that picture of the huge crowds last year, 4,000 people. This time, they're looking to eclipse that.
Yeah, this is a wonderful venue, and they've changed the starting line in the last edition, and they've continued that here. We can see the beautiful Fort Adams right in front of us and all the crowds. And the starting line is just off Fort Adams. It's between the blue committee boat and the yellow pin end marker. You've got to, there we go, right there. You can see the blue committee boat and the yellow marker buoy. That's the start line. Most important, don't go over the starting line. Otherwise, you get a 30-minute penalty. And you may think that that's not a lot, but it was the crucial difference in last year's race when Hound were over the line and they lost the overall win for a 30-minute penalty. So do not be over the starting line. We'll see quite a lot of boats just hanging back from the line, but there is an ebb tide, so that will encourage the boats over the line. So be careful, be warned. And the excitement this morning on the dock was palpable. I went round the dock and saw all the teams. Remember, 363 miles on a little boat across the ocean, across the Gulf Stream. The thrash to the onion patch is upon us.
Now, a few moments ago, we had the Newport artillery cannon here at Fort Adams. That is the official start countdown. Every 10 minutes, we're going to have a start. We are in less than 5 minutes now to the start of the multi-hull and the Spirit of Tradition class. Let's begin, Andy, looking at the multi-hull division. We had some recent and concerning news about Dreadnought, who was scheduled to race.
Yeah, Dreadnought, our big multi-hull that was going to start, they've decided that the weather forecast for Adrian Keller and his crew on the gunboat 62, they've decided discretion is the better part of valor. There is plenty of breeze forecast for the faster boats at the end of the race. There's a depression just going along the east coast of the States. It's heading towards Bermuda. I think most of the fast boats will just get the end of it, but Dreadnought decided they're out. So we've got Spirit of Bermuda as our first starter.
Now, like any other distance race, these teams need top teamwork, offshore seamanship and sailing skills, as well as stamina and endurance. But above all, this is a navigator's race. Those that tackle the challenging course the best will prevail. So here's a look at the course of the Newport Bermuda Race.
Is one of
Here we
just
go,
two
the
of
boat's
world's
head.
major regularly scheduled races held almost entirely out of the sight of land. The other is the Transpac race. Some sailors have 20 Bermuda races under their belt, and for others, this may be their first. But one thing is for certain, no two races are the same due to the varying conditions on this 636-mile racetrack. Regardless of crew experience, last edition was new for every single sailor in the fleet because the starting line moved 1.7 miles north to its new location off Fort Adams State Park. On the third Friday every other June, Narragansett Bay is closed to large commercial traffic. Sailors only have to contend with each other, the wind, and the current to find the best exit to set themselves up for success in the days to come. With high tide just before the first gun, the ebbing current will be headed out the bay and building in velocity throughout the afternoon, so we expect to see the teams hesitant to push the line to not risk being over early to avoid an automatic 30-minute time penalty appended to their finish time. Then, they need to keep all the red nuns to port as they exit the bay into Rhode Island Sound. Since the last race, Ørsted has completed installation of wind turbines between Nantucket and Montauk, so sailors will have to navigate among the wind farm that is now able to supply enough clean electricity to power more than 350,000 homes. By nightfall, the fleet ventures into the open ocean, racing towards the Gulf Stream. But what lies ahead is no easy feat. The Gulf Stream, a powerful ocean current, presents a formidable challenge. Its thermal boundary influences weather and sea state, demanding careful navigation and tactical decision-making. Once through the stream, it's a few more 100 miles to the finish line, sighted by volunteers from the Royal Bermuda Yacht Club from within St. David's Lighthouse. As the sailors reach Bermuda, there's one final reward awaiting them. After clearing customs, it's time for a well-deserved Gosling's Rum Dark and Stormy, marking the end of an epic journey across the North Atlantic.
Well, there we go. Pictures live of the Spirit of Bermuda with the Bermudian flag flying proudly. They are our first starter in 1 minute and 30 seconds to go. This boat, 2006. It's a modern classic. It's got 3 masts, carbon, and their best point of sail really is exactly as the forecast allows after they get out of Narragansett Bay. And this foundation has taken 8,500 students from Bermuda out sailing, enjoying the wonderful waters all around. The 181 island of Bermuda. They've got 181 islands all around Bermuda. It's a beautiful place to go, and it's a beautiful place for us to be sailing to today.
Well, you know, it's impressive. Over 8,500 people have been introduced to sailing in Bermuda. The population is just over 60,000. So that's a huge chunk of Bermudians that all appreciate the sport of sailing. This, their national sloop, Spirit of Bermuda, designed by basically a replica of what would have been a boat in the 1850s. Had this boat sailed to Cowes, we might have had a different result, but that's a whole nother regatta, Andy. 30 seconds to go to the start.
Yeah, here they go. So they're just a little bit early. It looks like they're luffing their sails. And for those of you out of Fort Adams watching, blue committee boat, yellow pin end of the line. Here they go. Looks like a beautiful start with 15 seconds to go. They're putting the pedal down. They're pulling their sails in. And it is with 10 seconds to go as they put their bow down. We'll see them tack probably shortly after the start, but that's 5 seconds to go as they push the bow down, and not far off, only a couple of boat lengths away. There goes the gun for our very first start in the 2026 Newport Bermuda Race. What beautiful pictures. And in the background, you can see all the other boats getting ready. They're keeping clear of the current starters, and we'll see that as we go through all 10 of our starts. And we've got a crew of 26 aboard the Spirit of Bermuda, 6 permanent crew, 20 guests hailing from the Manhattan Yacht Club in New York, but obviously the hometown is Bermuda. And tonight, I talked to the chef early this morning, and he said tonight on the menu is jerk chicken, peas and rice. That sounds like a beautiful start. And as they go upwind, there will be a few tacks to get them past Castle Hill, and then it's a bear away, it's crack the sheets, and it's about 110, 115 degrees apparent for a nice reach for the first day or two directly towards Bermuda, and then they'll be at the Gulf Stream. There they go, across the line. Lovely.
Very good start for Spirit of Bermuda. You saw that puff of white smoke from the signal boat. That signifies the start of this class and the 10-minute warning signal for our second start, which includes 18 boats. Andy, this is the Gibbs Hill 2 and St. David's 8 division coming up next.
Yeah, we are cracking on with them with only 8 minutes and 40 seconds to go to the next start, the St. David's Lighthouse, the largest division, comprised of nearly 60% of the fleet over the next few starts. And this division truly represents the original spirit of the event, with and then the Gibbs Hill division are the all-out high-performance boats designed exclusively for racing. There are no limits on professional crews for the Gibbs Hill, and professional crews can drive in the race, and they're looking for overall line honors. Talk us through some of the boats, Tucker.
Well, let's start, Randy, with the biggest one. At 100 feet long is Blackjack, who's looking to eclipse the course record of 34 hours, 53 minutes, set by another 100-footer, Comanche, back in 2016. And Lauren had a chance to catch up with the boat's captain to see what he had to say about the race and, of course, going for line honors and the record. I know Lauren's had a chance to interview, I think, over 17 different boats in the past week. She has a better understanding of what it's going to be like for these boats, and I think we're going to go back down on her interview with Blackjack now.
Well, for us, the goal is first always the same, I guess, is to enjoy racing this wonderful yacht together as a team and with the owner. And yes, that's always what we enjoy doing the most. Yeah.
So there's a course record out there to be had. Is that one of your goals?
Yeah, of course. But it's always weather dependent. But let's say if the opportunity comes, we are ready for it.
All right. And what is it about this boat and this crew that you think might make that a possibility?
We are very well prepared. The boat is at maximum of its potential. And we know how to use her very well. We've been racing now consistently this machine for 3 years and doing all the big races and doing well on most of them. And yeah, we've got a lot of wins and a lot of records. So we are hunting for more.
I love that. What does it mean to you and the crew to be taking part in the Newport Bermuda Race?
Yeah, so it means a lot for us because we are on this direction for the past couple of years and the next couple of years to do all the big races around the world. And this boat, in all its brilliant history, has never participated in Newport Bermuda, so that will be our first time. And for most of us, since we are a widely European crew, we also never came here. So yeah, we are really impressed by being here. It's one of the mecca of sailing. And we are very happy and enjoying this, and we are looking forward to a new race.
Okay, well, we're looking forward to seeing. There she is, Blackjack, 100 feet long, looking for line honors, looking for a record. And she's, in fact, the entire crew has never sailed this race, which is pretty impressive. Now, I next want to introduce somebody who has sailed this race 4 times. He's won it twice. He's an offshore racing expert. He's done and won the Round the World race, the Ocean race, and he's currently the CEO of U.S. Sailing, Charlie Enright. Charlie, great to have you with us here in the booth. You know a lot about offshore sailing and about this race. Tell us about some of the challenges these boats are going to face over the next few days.
Well, Tucker, Andy, thank you guys for having me here today. As you mentioned, I've done this race a number of times. I think the challenge with this race is the uncertainty, right? If you knew something was going to happen, you could prepare for it. And I think in this race, the uncertainty is this low pressure system that's spinning off the east coast of the United States. So I think the timing of that relative to the fleet is what these sailors are going to be challenged by.
Okay, we've got 5 minutes to the start, so we're going to go out on the water and check in with some of these boats. Now, you are obviously a Newport local, so is Andy. Talk us through some of the boats that we see on screen.
Well, we're just at the moment looking at Blackjack, and you know the boat well, Charlie. Some of the history of this boat. They're big in the Sydney Hobart, and they are trying to break all of these blue water offshore races, the classics.
Yeah, I think this boat was originally built as Alfa Romeo. Spent some time as the Azimuth Europa over in Europa, and now under the name of Blackjack, it's been taking down records all around the globe. It's an international crew, but they have one of Newport's local princes aboard, and Nick Dana. I was talking to him just yesterday, and he said they got a great crew with a good vibe, and they're ready to go.
Yeah, well, Nick Dana's done plenty of racing, and you've done plenty of racing with him. He's a cool cat, but what's the sort of vibe on board of a boat like this, looking for their line honors in the morning, their preparation, and the weather briefing?
Yeah, I mean, with a lot of these things, it's not necessarily the crew that you have or the boat that you have. It's sometimes, it comes down to the forecast you have, and I think if these guys get the right lineup into Bermuda, they got a shot. So I think everybody's focused on it. They'll be trying hard, and yeah, Nick said it's a great vibe on board. They know what they are doing, and they're excited to get going. And
we're looking at the pictures on screen right now, and those of you on Fort Adams who are looking, not a full mainsail on Blackjack. That is wind related. Talk to us about the decision making going on in there.
Yeah, when you start a race like this, sometimes you're preparing not for the wind that you see at the start, but for the wind that you'll see shortly thereafter. We have a little bit of a thermally enhanced gradient today, and then, as the boats get, call it 10 to 15 miles offshore, they'll lose the land effects and they'll be into the greater gradient. And again, the velocity is going to totally depend on the timing of this low pressure system, but better to err on the conservative side, particularly at the start when there's a number of maneuvers coming up for the group. You can't win it in the first couple hours, but you can certainly lose it. I heard you guys talking about being over the line and what a detriment that was last time. So, being conservative in the beginning is usually not a bad approach for a race like this.
And we're going to talk about some of the other boats that are in this start. We have got Denali 4. That is one of the Oak Cliff boats. You know that boat well. Sorry, Denali 4 is Denali 4, one of the boats. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so that's a great new boat, just built in Spain. That's an awesome shot of it just there. The build manager of that boat was a gentleman by the name of Wade Morgan, who actually helped us build our Amoca 60 that we used in the ocean race in 22 and 23. Exceptional crew. Norm Bears is the boat captain. It's a group out of Michigan. They're on a bit of a world tour, and it's going to start with this race for this boat. I believe one of the old Denalis is in another fleet in this race. As I took my boat here coming up the bay earlier, I saw them sailing up to the starting line, so they'll be serious contenders.
And I think that boat at the bottom of the screen is representing the U.S. Naval Academy. All the academies are represented here, 4 of them in this race.
Yeah, fantastic. We've also got Sailfly, the Swan 56. We've got Wahoo, the Curve 50. And what else have we got here?
We got Temptation. That's a great boat. Formerly Numbers, built at Gertz here in Rhode Island in 2008. I spent some time on that boat when it was formerly Numbers, so that's under the leadership of Art Santry with the Oak Cliff folks there. Great
there they are
boat.
in the background,
there
right?
They are, on
Perfect.
cue, just like that, Tucker. We got the Space Monkey, also built here in Rhode Island. That was built at NEB, originally a leg ray.
Jesse Fielding?
Jesse Fielding, good mate of mine, as they say. I was speaking to the navigator, Peter Eisler, just yesterday, so that I could be prepared for what we're talking about here today.
A Mills boat, the Space Monkey. I raced on it from Miami to Nassau last year. That was a great race. Holds the record now for it as the boat's really getting ready for the start here. We got plenty of action. Big boats and small boats combined. Extremely tricky. We've only got 40 seconds left to go to the start. All eyes out on the race committee boat at the pin end as well. We got one boat looking a little punchy there. We've got the all the boats now setting up, probably 12 to 14 knots of breeze as they get their bows down, and everyone prepping. 25 seconds to go. Now acceleration is the key. The boats to the windward end slow, but the boats down below able to really put the pedal down. Here they go, 15 seconds. One boat right there at the bottom, very close to the line. And
could be over.
Yeah, they could be over, but we've got Denali, Blackjack, all pushing hard. We got one of the boats just right on the windward end. Here we go, 3, 2, 1, as the gun goes now. Beautiful starts all around, and everyone, as we said before, just keeping it very gentle for the start. As the boats come in, we've got this boat, who's that to leeward? Charlie?
If I'm not mistaken, that's the Space Monkey,
yeah.
I think.
Great start. Andy Beadsworth on board, and
look at Blackjack.
Already legging out pretty fast.
I like the small boat up to windward. They had a good start as well. Let's go down in the water and check with Lauren. Lauren, that was an exciting start.
Stand by, stand.
Guys, that was a super exciting start. Watching Blackjack spin around the line behind it, their speed is incredible. And just watching the spray come off their bowsprit, I mean, look at them fly along. They feel like they're going to be in Bermuda maybe tonight. And then all the other boats are trying to catch up with them.
Oh, they're going to be trying to catch up for the next few days. Blackjack has already punched her ticket to
Look at the
possibly
Space
line
Monkey
honors.
there, huh?
Yeah.
Was that across from the left?
Certainly looked like it. You know, the Space Monkey was down at the pin, probably closest to the line at go. You know, they have the advantage in theory of being able to call for water to tack there in the event of an overlap, but to me it didn't look like they needed it.
No, tacked and crossed the fleet. That is a beautiful start from the Space Monkey. My old mate Andy Beadsworth on there as well, but that would have been Nick Dana calling the line. And when the tide is just helping you across the line, actually it's very good to be at the pin because it gives you a really good reference point to ensure you're not over the line, Charlie.
Small correction there, Andy. Nick Dana's on the Blackjack. I believe the gentleman calling the line on the Space Monkey is my good friend Robbie Kane.
Very good.
That's why we bring him
That's
in.
why we bring the experts.
It's making me feel like maybe I should be racing and not in the booth with you two.
Right.
Not just a pretty face, you know a thing or two. Look at these great shots. I mean, what a perfect start. There's Dream Crusher in our screen right in the foreground. And, yeah, this is great. Unfortunately, at some point, we're going to have to leave this start. And I almost wish we couldn't. But we do have another start coming up in a moment. Andy, port starboard here.
Dream Crusher looking to tack, and I think they're probably going to have to duck behind Denali there, the blue boat, really getting their act together. They're going very nicely there. So Dream Crusher are on port, and if you're on port, you have to give way to the boats on starboard. So we may see a little bit of a duck from them. Here they go. Dream Crusher doing a very nice job. No Dreams getting crushed yet. Let's hope they have a safe trip all the way to Bermuda.
All right, well.
Look at that action. What a beautiful, beautiful shot there. We got Rose Island, the Newport Pearl Bridge in the background, heading up north towards Providence. And this is a lovely scene here in Newport. What a picture-perfect day.
So next up, in start number 3, the Gibbs Hill 1 and the St. David 7 divisions. Andy, this is one of the largest, it is the largest starting group with 21 boats.
Yeah, 21 boats. We've got a ton of boats here to talk about. We've got everything from Kerr 46, Puff. They've come all the way from Southampton, England. We've got Azazar Swan 56. We've got Yachts. We've got an Yacht 56 Katara. We've got Isabel from the Brooklyn Boatyard. That's a custom-built 68-foot. That's the largest boat in start number 3. We've got Starflight, Velocity, Group 5. We've got all sorts of boats coming up here with 6 minutes and 20 to go.
Now, one of the boats in this fleet as well is Saphir, and Lauren actually had a chance to go training with this crew a few days ago out by the Ørsted wind farm. Here's a look. Apparently that training was in the dark at night.
Well, we'll try and cue that up again. Here we go.
Saphir near Jamestown, Rhode Island, to make the trek out to the Ørsted Revolution wind farm. It's a beautiful day. The sun is shining. It's pretty crisp. We've got our layers on. It took a while to get out here, but once we got here, these wind turbines are incredible. Getting up close to them, you can hear the wind as you're sailing by as these turbines are spinning.
It's just insane. Oh, look at that. Look at that.
So cool. So cool. Thing that's amazing is the scale and the size of the turbines. They're huge and they're quiet and they're well marked. And what was so interesting is the concept of air draft. What's air draft? I guess it's the distance between the water and the tip of the turbine when it's coming around. And our rig is 75 feet. The air draft is 125. So we had 50-foot clearance between our mast and the tip of the wing and sailed right by it. The turbines aren't a consideration. They're well marked. They're on the charts. You can see them. At this point of the race, you're leaving Block Island. Where do we have Block Island? Right here. So you're leaving Rhode Island Sound. It's, you know, you're starting the race in the afternoon. So it's already feeling like the end of the day when you're 20, 30, 40 miles down track. So you're just preparing for your first night at sea and thinking about the conditions ahead. But the wind farm's not a factor in your racing. It's just something along the way.
We've just been practicing some of the sail maneuvers that these sailors are going to have to perform on their way to Bermuda in a few weeks. We've had no problem switching between sails, tacking, jibing, tuning the rig, all against the backdrop of these wind turbines. I'm so grateful to get a taste of what the sailors are going to experience at their first waypoint on their way to Bermuda.
And then we've got pictures of Sophia. That is Julie Kalsfeldt and her husband, Andrew, who's also on board. Andrew, the race chair and vice commodore of the CCA of the Newport Bermuda Race, and for the second time in a row. And he's made a deal with the committee. He'd take this role on again, which is nearly a full-time job as a volunteer, but as long as he could do the race. So this morning he handed the reins over to Patty Young, who is on the race committee boat now and will take back when he hits the dock in Bermuda. Well, thank you to Andrew and his team. That is a 46-foot Arcona from hailing from Jamestown, Rhode Island. We got some of the other boats here. We've got Mischief Managed, a J45 with Chris Taylor on board, and this crew are one of the most light-hearted stories of the race. They embrace the Harry Potter theme, and even carrying spinnakers decorated with the Marauders map footprint. They've got Twizzlers, Hot Pockets, and homemade cookie lava on the menu. They're proving that offshore racing can be serious competition, but can also be rather a lot of fun.
That brings up a good question for Charlie. What are these boats going to eat for the next few days on board?
I think it depends on the boat and what class they're in. I think some of the boats that we saw take off about, I don't know, almost 8 minutes ago, I think a lot of them are probably operating on freeze-dried food. You know, there's not a lot of amenities out there on some of the race boats. You kind of have the ability to boil water, and that's it. And you pour it into your freeze-dried mush, and off you go.
And some of the other more gentlemanly cruisers, let's say, they will have a full 3-course meal and perhaps a bottle of red wine.
Filet.
I would say, yeah, maybe some lasagna in the oven and a little red to wash it down. I'd say the cuisine varies depending upon what boat you're sailing on and what class you're taking part of and what really the goal is of kind of doing this race.
Bottom of the frame there, we've got the Canadian boat, Hydromatic, and also Cool Breeze we just saw. There's a look upwind. It's the first class, Andy, is heading out in Narragansett Bay, and they're giving the second fleet an idea of where to go upwind.
Yeah, look at that. Great pictures of how you see the breeze different on the race course, but it is definitely upwind. As we've got all the boats here. We've got Azar there, the Swan 56. They're from Palma, Mallorca, Spanish.
Muy bien.
Muy bien. Hervé Grundig and Diego Frascoso. And they are the white boat from...
What language did you take in school, Andy?
Right, French.
It shows, doesn't it, Charlie?
French.
Sure does.
Yeah.
All right, talk us through the pre-start approach, Charlie. Obviously, you don't want to push the start too hard in a 636-mile race, right?
No, I think, being conservative is okay here, particularly with a bunch of upcoming maneuvers, as you could see from the boats that started 9 minutes ago. There's going to be some tacks until they free up and they, get into Rhode Island Sound and then eventually the Atlantic Ocean. So You want to make sure you're ready to maneuver. You know, we've seen varied approaches, some long starboard approaches, and some people coming in with the port tack approach. All of that is pretty valid considering we got an upwind start.
Yeah, we saw what happened with Space Monkey down at the pin in the first start. These are the kids from the New Bedford Community Sailing Program, young boat. It's great to have so much youth, the future of our sport represented here in the Newport Bermuda Race.
We got Andy Herlihy and Rich Feeney aboard that boat, community boating out of New Bedford.
Feeney, amazing. He's done an amazing job at the New Bedford Community Sailing. Talk to us about that with only 20 seconds to go. We'll come back to you in a second as we watch the boats all just queue up for the line. The pin end at the bottom of screen, the committee boat at the top of screen. Great drone shots here from Fort Adams as they just queue it up with 10 seconds to go. Looks like everyone being pretty conservative here. Not too much ebb tide yet, but this will build as the race goes on. And there we go with the gun and the puff of the cannon. Rich Feeney and his young folks. Talk to us about them.
Yeah, I mean, just the opportunity that they present kind of young folks down there at Community Bedford's really amazing. You know, I'm of the belief that you only kind of learn by doing, and they provide you the opportunity to learn. So they got a young crew with a couple mentors on board. They've done a number of local races kind of leading up to the start of Bermuda. I think they did the Whalers race, you know, earlier in the month, and just a real exciting opportunity for a very deserving group of young folks down in New Bedford.
Well, let's go back down to Lauren out on the water after every start. She's certainly got the right seat. Lauren, how's it looking for this fleet?
All right, guys, we're right in the thick of it. That was a great start. The wind is starting to pick up a little bit, and we're starting to get a little bit of the wind against current action, so the waves are bouncy. These sailors are heeled way over, putting up rail meat on the other rail. We're starting to get some spray on the boat, too, so I'm sure they are as well.
I love Lauren's job. You know, I was really excited. This is the first Newport Bermuda race I've covered, Andy, and I love working with you. But I think she's definitely got the most exciting role out there for sure. As we head upwind, there's the French. But look at the flag on the back of that. I like that national pride. Quite good. Yeah, the tricolor flying proudly at the back of the French boat right there. And they look like they're in good shape. Got the French, a real nation of sailors, very important, particularly offshore. The French are very keen for their sailing. And we've got an interesting forecast, a mix of plenty of breeze at the front and a little bit of light air as they get to the slower boats get towards the finish. Well, speaking of the forecast, our next start number 4 is the St. David's 6 with 12 boats ranging from 40 feet to roughly 47 feet. But before we get to their start, we want to introduce a special guest who has perhaps the most important information in the race, the weather, of course, and her company Sea Tactics services this regatta and many of the competitors in it. She's a professional of offshore navigation and global forecasting. We want to welcome Chelsea Fries. Chelsea, it's great to have you with us. And tell us, like we said, the most important factor in ocean racing, the weather. What have you been briefing the fleet on?
Yeah, so these boats are going to see a nice mix of different conditions with obviously plenty of breeze out there to start. A little bit of wind behind tonight as a little wind shift hits them. Then they'll be crossing the Gulf Stream, which obviously can kick up a lot of weather because of the warm water. So they'll be crossing the Gulf Stream sometime tonight or tomorrow, and then a big kind of light air patch, and they're all going to have to navigate how to get around that light air patch before the finish.
Now, yesterday I was talking to Jesse Fielding on Space Monkey, and he told us that they were preparing for battle. There was a big low out there. Has that sort of fizzled now?
It hasn't fizzled, but it really has not looked as intense as it did. You know, some of the earlier weather model runs were a little bit scary looking, but as we get closer in time, things become more confident. And so there is a little bit of a low that's going to pass by, but it should kind of shift out before most of the boats cross.
Now we're looking at here on screen, that is the path of the Gulf Stream. And for those of you who hadn't seen it before, that is quite the stream, north-south, and it goes basically from west to east to the UK. Just talk us through the tactics of getting through the stream, because there are points there where you can be in adverse current for a long time and points where there's less.
Yeah, exactly. So this is not just a straight line race from Newport to Bermuda, but actually these boats have to navigate basically a giant moving river of warm water as they cross this rum line here. So the Gulf Stream has all kinds of meanders and eddies and back eddies that kick up in different directions. So we've been studying this for weeks now, watching it as it develops. But the goal really, and what I help everyone with, is finding the best place to cross where they're going to get some positive current and cross quickly and efficiently.
And Andy, we can see that this next start has smaller boats than the first two starts that we've seen. So Chelsea, does the current in the Gulf Stream affect the smaller boats more than the bigger boats?
It affects all the boats the same. They're going to see up to 3 or 4 knots of current at the max in that Gulf Stream. So everybody's going to have a little bit of a different set and drift to calculate. But really, the difference in the boats comes in with the timing of when they cross and what kind of winds they have when they cross.
Very good. Okay. Well, we've got a bunch of boats out on the race course now. One of them, Arcadia, a green-hulled boat. That's Elliot Merrill from Lyman Morse Boat Builders, one of our sponsors. Thank you very much for your support. That's 46-foot from Brooklyn, New York. Lyman Morse built it. And we've got, what else have we got? We've got Bella J. We've got Firefly, Reindeer, Vamoose. We've seen Vamoose racing a lot in the New York Yacht Club regattas. That's Bob Manchester from Barrington, Rhode Island, just 15 miles north of here. Barrington have got an extremely rich history of racing and offshore racing, and he seems to always be on the podium in Class 12th Bermuda race for Bob Manchester and his gang on Vamoose.
I want to point out one boat here as well, Andy, Reindeer, strictly because I'm from Annapolis, Maryland, and so is Tony Parker. This is his 18th Bermuda race, and in 2024, he won the pin end very much like a dinghy start and crossed the whole fleet. We'll see if he can do it again today.
Well, he's a former J24 champion, so he's got a lot of experience. He's no stranger to sailing in Narragansett Bay, and this is the largest boat in Start 4. Next up, who have we got here? There's Arcadia. We were just mentioning them a moment ago. Elliot Merrill is Lyman Morse 46, a modern classic, beautiful boat. And you can see the radar dome on the back of the boat, and they're prepping for their start.
Just a quick question for you, Chelsea. How often, I hate to put you on the spot on this, how often are you right when you make these predictions, 3, 4, 5 days in advance?
Yeah, I mean, the weather is changing all the time. So, we always hope we're more right than wrong, but of course the weather does what it does. And we really try to convey confidence in what we're seeing. And if what we're seeing out there is low confidence, we just express that. And we try to give a lot of if-then statements. If you see this happening, then it's going this direction. If you see this happening, then we're going to do a different plan and go that direction. So we try to give a lot of options and not just a straight forecast that is either right or wrong.
And it's not just before the start. You're going to be part of the Gulfstream live show, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be checking up on the weather every single day and letting you guys know what's going on out there with the boats.
Okay, very good. Here 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Sunrisa. That is XP44, Jeff McCarran. And they're from Ardmore, PA, Pennsylvania. It's a 2016 XP44 raced by a crew mainly from the Cruising Club of America and the Corinthian Yacht Club of Philadelphia, the Tread Avon Yacht Club. There they go in their pre-start preparations. Don't be over the line, but they've filled the boat with enough food to get them to Bermuda. They've got to have all their foul weather gear, mainly reaching for the first day or two, Chelsea. Is that right? What does that mean?
Yeah, they'll be close reaching, and then as the wind backs around, there'll be a little bit more of a downwind for a bit, and they'll get, a good mix of all different sail conditions, and then when it gets really light, maybe all different kinds of sails coming out.
Less than 2 minutes to go now. Nobody up close to the line. Of course, you don't want to be, Andy. With the outgoing tide increasing, being over early is costly, a 30-minute time penalty.
We've also got Phantom, an XP44 with Chris Schoen, and that is where they've sailed with a great group of friends, mainly from the Larchmont Yacht Club, who like going fast and not giving an inch on the water. That was their pre-race quote. They started sailing in their local fleets, Shields and whatnot, for Great Shields fleet in Larchmont. And when Phantom isn't racing, she can be found cruising more gently around the New England waters of Long Island Sound, Block Island Sound, Cuddyhunk, Nantucket, and Martha's Vineyard.
Andy, like we've seen in the other starts, it seems like the top of the screen, the signal boat end, the right end of the start, seems to be what they're favoring.
Yeah, a little bit of favor, but because it just makes it easier when you come back on port, although the pin end is very much favored. I like this boat right at the bottom. They should be tacking now, There they go, tacking towards the pin with 48 seconds to go. They're going to be able to pull their sails in and go. They can just go for the line right there. No chance of being over, I don't think, with 40 seconds to go. But we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got around 10 boats there, all getting up. What is that? Firefly, the Morris 45, a beautiful boat, the Morris 45. And that is Logan Greenlee, Chuck Payne designed, and she was launched in 2000, has raced in the Pacific and the Atlantic Oceans. And they took second in class in the 2022 Bermuda race with only 12 seconds to go. Ooh, a little bit of argy-bargy at the start there. Just if you're the windward boat, you have to keep clear. But a very competitive start here as the boats come in towards the line. And here we go with the gun countdown. There we go, the puff of smoke off the race committee boat. Very nice start as the boats go across the line. Only a few seconds between the gun and the start as all the boats now heading off upwind for the beat towards Castle Hill and the lighthouse, Beavertail, and then crack sheets to Bermuda.
One of the closest and best starts we have seen so far. Let's go back down to Lauren on the water.
Hey guys, that was a pretty start. Everybody's all lined up. It didn't seem like anybody was over the line to me. They all seemed to play conservative, even flapping their jibs a little bit. And, this boat's really heeled over. They've got the rail in the water, and it looks like Touch of Gray is leading this pack out of the bay, getting into the current, and headed out towards the wind farm.
All right, thanks very much, Lauren. Looks like a great beat on starboard heading upwind. And before we get into our next start, we want to thank one of our sponsors, Palm Beach Motor Yachts.
At Palm Beach Motor Yachts, we build for those who lead. This comes from our history in competitive ocean racing, where advanced technologies and a spirit to win shape our every advantage on the water. We carry those lessons into every motor yacht that we design and build, using efficient and balanced hulls to deliver performance that feels effortless. Paired with meticulous craftsmanship and engineering, it creates a quiet confidence you can sense the moment you take the helm. Palm Beach Motor Yachts, from ocean racing innovation to cruising perfection.
Thank you to Palm Beach Motor Yachts. We appreciate their support. More about them later on in the show. But our fifth start has 20 boats, Andy, and a lot going on in this fleet. This is St. David's 5 and Finisterre 3. The first class will be the Finisterre division. Tell us about the significance of that yacht, Finisterre, and the name behind this division.
Well, Finisterre was designed by the legendary New York designers Sparkman and Stevens, first launched in 1954, and it's considered one of the most successful offshore racing sailboats in the last 150 years. And she's the only boat ever to win the Newport Bermuda Ocean Race 3 consecutive times. So it's quite a scene for Finisterre. But we've also got Running Tide here, also an incredibly famed and storied boat. This boat has been a Sparkman and Stevens 61, and it is a racing yacht of the 1970s, brought back to the USA by one of the original owners 30 years later, and now it races hard. It is one of the prettiest boats on the dock. It's undergone a stunning refit. And who have we got here on the shot?
In the back there, that big dark boat. That's Running Tide, one of the most famous offshore boats ever. Bo Van Meter, he sailed with his father, Al Van Meter. They've done so many Bermuda races. They won exactly 50 years ago, and they're back again, refurbished. Some of them are the very same crew that won in 1950. How's that?
Yeah, and it was designed really as one of the very first all-out racing boats, stripped and cleared of all extra activity on board, not of the old cruising boats of yore, built of aluminium plating by Huisman, by Royal Huisman in the Netherlands, and an evolution of Olin Stevens's famous designs with a relatively slender beam as she turns up. They've put on a bowsprit subsequently, but lovely, pretty boat there, and it's got a long forward overhang, separate keel and rudder, skeg hung rudder, and that really was very innovative for its time. And she was very fast, winning her class in 1970 Newport Bermuda Race on her debut, and the following year taking overall victory in Florida's famous SORC circuit. Briefly leased to the recently departed and very famous Ted Turner, and he was so taken with the boat, he tried to buy it, ended up in a bidding war with the property developer Al Van Meter, who is still there. So Ted Turner, a very unusual situation where he lost a bidding war to buy something.
Well, it's Al Van Meter's son who's on the boat now in his 13th Bermuda race and the boat's 7th appearance. It's great to have them, and there's the rest of the fleet getting ready for the start. Real quick, we're going to take one more short break to thank another sponsor, North Sails. Well, you could venture to guess that a lot of the boats in this fleet have North Sails on board, so thank you to them. You can find them, of course, at the top of every major regatta in the world as the fleet gets ready for this start. 4 minutes, 25 seconds, the countdown. Here's Blitzen.
Yeah, this is something of a family team. Just about everyone on board related to the crew of 9. John Stork Jr., Colette, his sons John, Ian, Eric, son-in-law Baker Potts, joined by David Willis and his son James. And this will be John Stork's 22nd Bermuda race.
Wow.
That is quite something. That is J130 from out of Huntington, New York, the family affair, if ever there was one. I'm sure there'll never be a crossword on that boat for sure, or at least some very frank discussions. Here we got Digger, the J44 right in front of us there. James Fife from Cranston, Rhode Island. He part of the Cranston Navy, the youngest sailor in the race. Noah Johnson, 13 years old on Digger. Well, that really is something to conjure with. That makes the heart flutter a little bit. Sailing with his dad, Ben, and grandfather aboard James Fife's boat here. Digger, well, what an experience. 13 years old, 636 miles to Bermuda. That is quite something, my dyslexia kicking.
Do we think that's the youngest competitor in the fleet, I wonder?
Yeah, it is.
13?
Yep. Youngest sailor in this edition of the race. So we've also got Masquerade with a good friend of mine, Andrew Burton, on board. His Baltic 47. This guy, he has done literally hundreds and hundreds of thousands of miles all around the world. He delivers boats all year long. And a shout out to John Browning on board. He's taking his 29th Bermuda race, the most of any living person, second only to the late Jim Mertz, who had 30 races. So John Browning, my word, that is quite the record.
Well, that's, you know, with every other year being a biannual regatta, that's almost 60 years of racing to Bermuda.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well done, him. And we've got Defiance, the Swan 56, with Peter Noonan. He's a well-known sailor around these parts, hailing from San Jose, California. Have we got Andy Armo starting as well? The Gunfleet 58. We'll see if we can get eyes on them. Maybe not, but we've also got Banter. Oh, look at these guys. They're all getting prepped for their start. There's only 2 minutes to go, so they are all in their final throws into this starting line. Looks very busy. A lot of white water, plenty of breeze. 14 knots or so. The ebb tide slowly building. We got a fantastic crowd here at Fort Adams, all enjoying this very iconic Newport scene, the start of the 2026 Newport Bermuda Race.
Now, you can't see it in this shot, Andy. Lower left of screen is going to be the right-hand end or top of the starting line. And all of these boats in this fleet are really setting up early from the right-hand side. There's a look.
Yeah, and at the back of screen, you can see Gypsy Soul. That is an Oyster 885, one of the biggest boats, the biggest boat in this class. And they hail from Gibson Island Yacht Club. And they did a transatlantic to the Caribbean last winter. Gibson Island Yacht Club, nice place. Tucker, where you got married, I seem to remember.
That's right. You were there, Andy.
Yep.
And you've got a friend on board.
Oh, yeah.
I believe in this fleet. From Gibson Island, sailing from Gibson Island as well. But less than a minute to go now. We're going to go down to Lauren in a minute, but first, there's a great close-up of a dark boat.
Is that Licky? Is that Licky, the X44.3, I think? Is that the Argentinian boat?
Could be. I like the person up on the bow there calling him into the start. And you mentioned that this ebb tide is going to continue increasing throughout our show.
Yeah, this is great. Look at the bow work. Look at the bow girl just calling up. I think that's a bow girl on there just calling up. There's a boat to leeward. So when you are to windward, you have to keep clear of the boat to leeward. And the boat to leeward is Digger. They are, there we go. Lovely. USA 25244. Vamoose. Okay, look at them all prepping here with only 4 seconds to go. They really need to get the power down and get the boat heeling over. We've got a few boats right at the front there, very close on the line and to windward. There we go. Gun has just gone. And the Oyster 885 did a nice job of getting right on in there. Great start.
Oh, look at that. Spread all the way across the fleet. They are handling these boats, Andy, like dinghies. Yeah. And it's an ocean racing start. Impressive stuff. Let's see if we can get a word from Lauren down on the starting line.
We're coming down. All right, guys, that was a pretty good start. I don't think anyone's start was over. I have to say, Andy, sorry, that's Lique from Argentina, and that boat means happiness. So I think all of these boats are happy with these conditions. They're really heeled over, powered up, and headed down the bay.
And Lauren, looks like the tide is really starting to run to help the boats across the start line. The boats are getting closer and closer to the start line. That an indication of a little more tide running?
Let's try not to do that again.
I'm going to go with yes.
Yes.
Yeah, on that, Andy.
Running Tide. It's a name to conjure with. It is a wonderful boat, storied history, and maybe named after the famous John Masefield poem for those literary buffs around you.
Now, has the breeze shifted a bit more right, Andy, to my eye?
I don't think so. I think it's pretty much steady southwesterly. There might be a little bit of a right-hand shift as the day goes on, but we've got a few of the boats reefed up. Everyone looking in great shape. And what a spectator fleet out here. We can see behind us Jamestown, the island of Jamestown, Rhode Island, where lots of these boats come. They run racing here in Narragansett Bay on Tuesday nights. And so with 8 minutes and 10, we are moving on to the next start number 6 after this, Tucker.
Yes, Andy, this will be the St. David's 4 division. It includes 14 J120s and J122s. And before we join them, we want to pay tribute to the host city of this iconic race, of course, Newport, Rhode Island. Well, we'll come back to our ad for Newport, Rhode Island in a bit, Andy, but this is a big division here. Have we switched up divisions? Is this no longer
St. David's
J120s and 122s here? I don't think.
Yeah, I think it is.
Well, we're going to check on that when we come back after a word from the city of Newport. Thank you, Newport, Rhode Island. Thank you so much, Andy. You're from Newport. There's a great shot of Fort Adams here in Newport. as the fleet pushes close inshore.
Yeah, I think we've got St. David's Lighthouse 4, so we've got boats. Who we got? The J120s, J122s. We've got Blitzkrieg, Charlotte. We've got Hissy Fit 2, Phoenix, Zigzag. We've got Moxie, Orion, Phoenix, Rocket Science, Spec, Summer Grace, Wild Blue, Windhorn, Zigzag, Andrew Clark from Greenwich, Connecticut, and Zigzag competing at its 3rd Newport Bermuda race, was 2nd overall in the St. David's Lighthouse division in 2022. Andrew Childs on his boat, J122 Orion from Halifax, Nova Scotia. They have come all the way from the northeast, and David Hoon on Moxie, the J122, 3rd in the Newport Bermuda race recently. And the J-boats have a long history with Newport because the Johnson family based themselves here and have built hundreds and hundreds of these J-boats, an incredibly successful American brand for sailing here in the US and exported all around the world. We've got Blitzkrieg, Matthew Shadler from Michigan to Tecumseh.
Tecumseh.
Is that right?
You got me on that one.
Tecumseh, Michigan. I'm sure that's not quite right, but we'll...
Tecumseh.
Tecumseh, sorry.
It's okay, he's British. We're gonna give him a pass on that. Andy, I'm gonna give you a break for a second because we want to thank one more sponsor here in Newport, Rhode Island, and that is Hammett's Hotel. Well, thank you to Hammett's Hotel, and I'd like to personally thank the Hotel Andy Green, where I'm staying in Newport this week. And Andy, thank you.
You didn't get your free room at Hammett's then, because I tell you, Hammett's Hotel is a wonderful place to go stay. And I think they did a great job because they actually put this huge archway in the on Thames Street. So coming down Memorial, you can actually see through the archway and you can see out to the water. They did a super job of their architecture there. We've got Hissy Fit 2, just bottom right of screen. And Hissy Fit 2, Dave Taylor on his J120. And you're not going to believe this, but he rented a truck, a low loader truck thingy. What do you call them in America? A big truck. Anyway, he actually he actually towed his boat. He drove himself and towed his boat all the way from the Bayview Yacht Club in Michigan. And
that's a big effort.
Yeah, that's a big effort. And he had to get his license, his tractor trailer, I think they're called. He had to get his license to get it. And Dave Taylor on Hissy Fit 2. That's Dire Wolf, center of screen right now, just on the start line as they bear away. That's a grey boat from Locust Valley, New York. We've got people from all over the country, East Coast, West Coast, all over the world here. And this fleet, particularly a very East Coast the J-class boats, and all the Johnson family are around.
Happy with this start for sure.
Zigzag straight in front of us right there. Andrew Clark. They almost won the St. David's Lighthouse division, 2nd overall in 2022. Just missed out by a pip. And we're looking at the start line there. The blue committee boat. They have the Papa flag up. That means there's less than 5 minutes to go. In fact, there's 2 minutes and 40 to go. We can see on our clock here, helped out by Ørsted. Thanks for their involvement here.
Meridian, I believe we're looking at. Is it? No.
No, that's not Meridian. That's still Zigzag.
That's Zigzag, thank you.
Yeah, very good. Zigzag. Andrew Clark, J122. Head bowman. I can even tell you what the bowman's name is right there.
You are good, my man.
Let's just.
I noticed a lot of these boats, they kind of crab up to the line and then immediately turn down away from it.
My mate Stu Saffer on board.
There we go.
Good old Stu. He's a great guy. Last time I saw him was at the Gigi's in Saratoga Springs. That was great fun. We've got a Baldridge on board. By Baldridge, he was one of my coaches for the America's Cup back in 2020. We've got Wild Blue, J122 with the Wilkinson family. They're from Cape Neddick in Maine.
Great shot of the bowman there on the leftmost boat, the dark blue hull. I love it. It's about time to start heading towards the start, but don't get there too early.
Yeah, Wild Blue with Addison Harper, Chip Lawrence, Grace Cannon, John Wilkinson,
Alibi.
Nick Madden. Who's that? Alibi we've got there.
So there's a good example of a boat that looked like they were on final approach, but that current is starting to really affect the fleet, Andy. They all have to turn around and go backwards to gain time and distance to not be over the line.
Yeah, Dylan Shaw, Harriet Taylor, Jamie Fowles, Jake Kramer, Ramon Cazares, Alibi, and Ryan Conway's done 2 of these races already before. Oh, we got here. We got a fishing boat coming down to the pin end of the line. I know that boat actually. That is.
They're going to get a good view of this start. That's for sure.
What is that boat? That boat's called Real Crazy or something, I think. Anyway, they're getting a decent shot of that. I suspect that the race committee will be trying to shoo them off the line, as we've only got 28 seconds to go to the gun. And we've got Alibi. We've got Zigzag right there. Zigzag, center of screen, red hull. We've got 59916.
Yeah, down there at the pin end there. I'll try to locate that boat for you in a second. Here we go. Spec. Down at the pin. 3 seconds to go.
Yeah, very good. Spec putting the power down. Here they go, and the gun goes only a boat length or so off the line. Beautiful start from Spec. William Klein from Rowayton, Connecticut.
Well done at the pin end, that's for sure.
Yeah, beautiful. There's a trimmer just to leeward, and the helmsman, he's got a very gentlemanly stance there on the wheel to leeward, and that looks like a good spot. And I think the tide, it's a really good spot at the pin there, because the tide actually is flowing more at the ends on this turn. It's only been now an hour and a bit of tide, so there's actually better outbound tide right on the edges, and a slight favor to the pin end of the line. He'd be pretty close to being able to tack and cross here. We'll keep with this shot just for a moment and see if Spec is able to tack and cross the fleet. It'd be a lovely sight to see as they get down towards Fort Adams.
Well, let's go down to Lauren and see if she's got a view of whether they can tack and cross. Lauren, how's it looking out there?
Guys, that was a pretty sedate start. Everybody seemed right on time. We've got Zigzag coming along behind us. Looks like they're powered up. They've got some rail meat going on there. The wind doesn't seem to have picked up too much, but we're certainly getting a lot of swell and getting a lot of bounce from all this current. I'm sure some of these sailors are going to be reaching for their seasickness pills not soon after they get out of the bay.
That's a great shot of the back of Lauren's hat. She doesn't want to talk to us. She wants to watch the racing, and I don't blame her.
Right.
Best seat in the house for sure. Thank you, Lauren. Now we're going to switch our focus back down to the starting line. Oh, there's your shot of whether they're going to be able to tack and cross. Yeah. Andy, not yet. So we got some more room to go to get into the rocks at.
This is a great picture. Look at this. Off they go, sailing away. And I can tell you, just after the start, the nerves just slightly calmed down a bit. But the reality of what is to come is 4 or 5 days of hardcore racing all the way across this western side of the Atlantic to Bermuda. And what a wonderful place to end up is Bermuda. It is a really quite a storied place where pirates and privateers and navies and what do they call it? The Rock of Bermuda. 7 minutes and 40 to go. So here we go, back to the starting line for our next start.
And that start's going to be the beautiful Finisterre division, Finisterre 1 and 2 with 17 boats. But first, I want to talk a little bit about offshore safety, which is crucial, not only to this division, but for every boat in the fleet. One of the primary objectives of the Bermuda Race Foundation is to educate and train these sailors on offshore safety. 25% of them, Andy, are required to take safety at sea seminars and training. Actually, more of them do, which is great. The following video is produced by the Cruising Club of America. It'll give you an idea of what safety at sea training is all about.
Safety at Sea is the education program that we have for sailors who are going offshore, both sailors who are going to do races like the Newport Bermuda Race and people who are just cruising offshore. Safety at Sea is put on by the Cruising Club of America. The Cruising Club of America is made up of members who have extensive offshore backgrounds, and the people that are putting on Safety at Sea are volunteers who have years and years of experience in offshore sailing and are able to give their expertise.
Because of all these sailing fatalities and boating accidents, there was a lack of boat safety and a lack of knowledge. So the CCA picked up on that and started developing Safety at Sea courses. Now, races like the Newport Bermuda Race require that a third of your crew have up-to-date international offshore certificates. And so our training provides that certification.
What we focus on are all of those things that you really hope don't happen on the boat. The focus is how do you prevent emergencies from happening on board, and then what do you do when they do happen. There's a classroom component that talks you through how to handle different emergencies, but then there's also a hands-on portion.
Safety at Sea provides an incredible opportunity for us to get a hands-on application for so many of the things that we talk about. A lot of this stuff as a part of our curriculum, the opportunity to actually get out here, to actually use a fire extinguisher, to shoot off a flare, super unique, awesome opportunity to train.
We're actually requiring all of our crew, as we're only sailing with 4, to have the certification, and picking up a little bit of knowledge from each class you can add to it. Overall, make the program much safer. In an emergency where you may only have moments to respond, it's not a time to be learning how to do something.
Well, I've done that offshore safety at sea course right there. I've set the flares off, and I've jumped in the very warm swimming pool, fortunately, but I was fully clothed, and it just reminds me of a moment that we had on the Sydney to Hobart race where our life raft actually got washed overboard and it inflated itself, and we were hanging on to it for dear life. It was about 50 knots of breeze in the Bass Straits, and then the life raft detached itself and went sailing off into the distance. So we were life raft down, so we had to make some serious plans after that, but you never know exactly what can happen. Here we've got pictures right here with 4 minutes and 20 seconds to go of Thunderhead. That is a 48-foot boat from Camden, Maine, and it's returning to the race for the first time in 60 years. 17-year-old Oliver Lee manages the boat, and this is his first Newport Bermuda race. No surprise. The crew made up mainly of family and friends. Lee's father, uncles, cousins. They got a great family gathering, and Lee views the race as a very meaningful experience before heading off to college after this summer. I mean, that is privilege if ever there was, and to race alongside historic and iconic boats, a legendary event with such a special aura. Here we go with northwest wind, a Hinckley 48 sloop, and just to conjure up some of the classic New England beauty of boats, the Hinckley 46 from Holliston, Mass. And they won the Finisterre in 2024. Frank Sobak, he brought the boat with the express goal of sailing and training for this Newport Bermuda race. Well, look at that. That's got a bone in its teeth, and it is off. Northeast wind is a natural fit for the Finisterre division right here. And he said, one of my crewmates has said that sailing northeast wind is like driving a nice old Cadillac over country roads. The boat handles the rough stuff real well. Look at that. Beautiful. Lovely paint job. Excellent.
This is Inisharan, Andy, the Seguin 51, owned by Jim Murphy.
Yeah, he won his class in 2024. Yeah, 2 years ago he won their class, finished their class, 51-foot. They hail from Rye, New York.
That looks like a comfortable ride, doesn't it?
Yeah, right. They'll be having a bottle of wine on that at some point towards the finish, maybe.
Well, this Finisterre 1 and 2, you know, this division was originally conceived as the cruising division. Many of these boats are optimized for both racing and cruising, and many of these crews do both quite regularly. It's one of the reasons why we tend to see more families competing in the Bermuda race, which is such a great part about this event, with boats that are a bit more suited to comfort. Not a bad way to sail to Bermuda on a cruising boat. Andy, why isn't your cruising boat doing this race?
Yeah, right.
You could do it.
Right, a little harbour. It would be a perfect boat for this Finisterre division. Here we go. Who is that? Galliana. Wonderful. That is a Sparkman Stevens Swan 55 yawl. This is a pretty boat right here. Teipo Lentinen from Helsinki, Finland. I know that guy, Tapio. He's a great dude. Sparkman and Stevens, Swan, built in 1970. And Tapio brought the boat in 2019 to enter the 50th year of the anniversary race of the Whitbread Round the World race and the Ocean Globe race. And they competed around the 3 Capes with their Finnish crew. In 25 and 26, they went on a tour of the North Atlantic, sailed to the Canaries. They've been all over the place. Look at that. Look at that yawl. Beautiful here as they come in for attack with 1 minute to go. No, I don't think they'll attack. They're just going to go for the line. Look at them all in yellow.
A little bit of it's port starboard there. That looks really close.
Oh, dear. Oh, yay. Very close indeed. I think they had to take avoiding action there. We have a little bit of argy-bargy in this lineup. 45 seconds to go to the start. Yeah, now, have we got any pictures of one of my old mates here, Jay Gowell? And yeah.
There's a tartan. Great shot of that red tartan. Very comfortable. All these boats look comfortable.
Moonstone, Jay Gowell. He was the CCA Commodore until March, and I saw him in Antigua a couple of months ago after their 2-year round-the-world voyage, him and his wife double-handing and with some friends as well, and he brought the boat back just a few weeks ago. Then a storm came in, and the boat detached itself after so many miles. Oh, he's going to be over the line here.
Goodness.
Who is this?
Capella.
Capella.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Oh. Now, listen, there's the gun. I don't want to call what it looks like, Andy, but it looks like.
Over the line. Oh, and they're going to try and go back. Don't try and go back. You can't do that.
Nope.
Going back is no good. You've got to carry on. It's a 30-minute penalty.
30-minute plus going back. I guess.
Oh, and now he's going to jibe around. Oh, dear, oh, dear.
Man.
No main salon.
So it doesn't matter that they've restarted, Andy. They still get a 30-minute penalty tacked on at the end, right?
Yeah. That's what happens when Capella. That's what happens when the tide gets under you a bit, and Capella still trying to cross the fleet, but actually doing a pretty good job of crossing the fleet on port.
After restarting, somebody should remind them that they're going to have an expensive penalty, unfortunately, but still looking relatively good now. Lauren, I'm sure it's looking relatively good for you down there. Maybe we'll come back to Lauren in a few minutes. You know, it's pretty hard to get live video off the water and audio, so we're going to check back in with Lauren in a minute. Here we go. Have we got her? I can hear her.
All right.
Anyway, fantastic shots of the boats going upwind. All of them in this fleet look good except for one, unfortunately. It's getting a bit wavier out there because the tide and the wind are battling each other, right, Andy?
Mm-hmm. Here they go, boats off the line. And who we got? That's a Morris.
That's a nice-looking boat. All the boats in this.
Yeah, Morris 46. I think that's Navicula. Doug Weiss, doctor from Essex, Connecticut. Lovely. Lauren.
Sorry, guys. We're getting a little wild down here because we were so busy watching Capella go straight over that line, even though their bow person had their fist up. And then, for some reason, they decided to go back around. But then we got in the way of another boat. It was one of the wildest starts down here that we've had. And luckily, though, we've got a great shot of Galliana coming up behind us. That beautiful Sparkman and Stevens you guys were talking about earlier. So this is just one of the most exciting starts we've had so far down here.
Lauren, if we stay with you for a minute, the Galliana is going to go right past your left ear. Look how close you guys are to the race course.
Yeah, talk us through it, Lauren.
I don't know if she can hear us, but if the camera person stands to the right, we can take a look at it while there's some battles going on between port and starboard boats tacking up.
Guys.
There she is.
Yeah, here comes Galliana right behind us. You know, I spoke with Tapio quite a bit before the start. Normally he teaches celestial navigation on board because he has a bunch of students. This time he wasn't sure if they were going to use it, but look at how beautiful that boat is. I think he even had one of those old-timey captain hats on, so he's really playing the part today.
Thanks very much, Lauren. I love that shot. That is spectacular.
Yeah, beautiful.
You get a sense to feel like what it's like to be on board these boats. And start number 7 now. That's Finisterre 1 and 2 Our next start number 8, is going to be St. David's 3. There are only 11 boats, all in the same division, includes boats ranging from 35 to 57 feet. But before we join them, Andy, tell us why sustainability is such an important initiative for this event.
Well, it's cruise sustainability for these events. We are basically in the boundary between the ocean and the land. And when we go offshore and we go out into the ocean, you see the nature and you see the quality of the water. And over the last 150 years, you know, just in Narragansett Bay here, it used to be impossible to swim here in Narragansett Bay. And they have, over the years, cleaned it up. And so we now have all sorts of wildlife, dolphins, all sorts here. And it's a huge improvement, and we're always trying to do more in terms of recycling and making sure that the materials and chemicals and boat building practices that we use are improved as the years go by. And we've got a little video for you explaining some of the initiatives about sustainability that this race finds so important.
The Bermuda Race Foundation, amongst its major activities and initiatives, works to educate sailors in environmental stewardship and implements programs to make the race environmentally responsible. In 2022, the Bermuda Race Organizing Committee encouraged captains to appoint an environmental steward on board each boat. 50 of these stewards took up the challenge, helping their crews plan and provision with ocean health in mind. We've always battled the elements when we race to Bermuda, but paying attention to this playground, the ocean, is really important, and most sailors are sensitive to that. And adding a steward to your crew is one way we can focus our attention on that imperative. E-stewards are showing that sustainability isn't just a concept, it's actions we can all take.
So when we're provisioning for the boat for a race like this, we want to use products that are compostable, not one-time plastic, things basically that won't end up back in either the ocean or the environment. Any of our food that is loose, we can pack into our compostable bags. No one-time use plastics, so we try to pack things into containers, compostable kitchen bags for the garbage can. And our toilet paper is environmentally friendly because it is from recyclable fibers. We ask that everybody brings on a water bottle that can be reused over and over again in order to keep things out of the environment and out of the ocean.
Whether you're racing or cheering from shore, all of us can make a difference with the small actions we take. Together, we can ensure that our love for sailing preserves the oceans for generations to come.
Well, important messages there, and thanks to Jesse for that fantastic voiceover. And make sure that you just do whatever you can when it concerns ocean health and the environment, recycling. It is the future, and here we now have start 8, St. David's 3. We've got some real boats to conjure with for this race. Gesture. Alex Merrin's Sparkman and Stevens 41. This is quite the boat. She won in 1946, which was the first race after World War II, and he had a true test. The first aluminium mast. Who have we got here?
Blue Skies.
Blue Skies. That is the Sky 51 catch, William Gunter from Essex, Connecticut. And the 10th race for Blue Skies. Frank Boland on board, and it is his 24th Bermuda race. How old is he? 87 years old.
Really?
Yeah, seriously.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
And he's a teacher at the University of Connecticut. And what is his specialist subject? The Gulf Stream. I mean, honestly, you couldn't get anyone better. 87 years of experience and a world expert in the Gulf Stream. That is quite the story. I want him on my boat doing this.
You can believe they're going to go the right way. And this is a good time to remind you that there's a tracker for every single boat. You can go on to the BermudaRace.com and follow the fleet after this start. Be curious. Wherever that boat goes is where I would want to go in the Gulf Stream.
Okay, on screen, In Theory. That is not a typo. That is the name of the boat, Peter McWhinney, and they're from Larchmont, Connecticut. In Theory, battles it out often with Christopher Dragon, another boat from Larchmont, who are also in this class. Christopher Dragon.
Bit of a rivalry.
Andrew Weiss from Maramonek, New York. Oh, there's Gesture. Look at that. My mate Leeds Mitchell. He's on board Gesture, and they won 1946. 80 years ago, this boat.
You're kidding.
Yeah. Seriously, this is when we've got some of the stories. And here comes Gesture with only 1 minute and 25 to go. And there's Christopher Dragon. Oh, yeah. This looks like it's going to get very tight indeed.
Tell you what, I wouldn't want to be Christopher Dragon. It's about time to tack on to starboard. Look at all those starboard tackers that they were.
Right. But look at Gesture, just scything through the fleet right in the middle. My mate Murph Owen on board, the yacht designer. Alex Merrin, Chase Hoganboom, who's also here from Bristol, Rhode Island. Chris Bush, Skip McCormack, Leeds Mitchell IV, whose grandfather and great-grandfather have both done this race. The captain, Max, Peter Chambers, and Charles Swanson on Gesture. Look at that, and it's got a storied history. That boat was owned by a famous...
person.
Very famous musician.
We'll come back to you on that. We got 30 seconds to go. What an absolute beautiful boat. Look at her just charging through the more modern boats in the fleet. She's going to nail this start. 23 seconds.
Yeah, isn't she just? Look at that. What a start from Gesture. Let's hope they're not early. There's only 15 seconds to go. They've got 2 boats to lure to them. There's not much. Oh, they're going to be absolutely bob on for this. 7, 6, 4. Oh, dear. It's going to be close. 2,
1.
Put the bow down. 1.
Go. Oh, there's a.
Yeah, they're okay.
Crossing the fleet.
And look at that port tack cross the fleet. Who is that? Gesture get away with it, I think. What a start down at the pin. Great action. Look at that. What is that? It's 104.
Quick draw.
Quick draw. They were quick on the draw.
They were quick on the
nailed
draw.
the pin.
Look at them. They're off. Not even looking back. See you guys in Bermuda.
Right, like
basically.
Like a cowboy and a gun. They were quick on the draw, and they got the port start across the fleet. Beautiful. Beautiful. Well done, quick draw. I think that may get start of the week. John Willis, Martin Zonnerberg, Nick Hartley, Scott McGregor, Steve Burke, Tim Randall, all quick on the draw. And Gesture now tacked away. They've got 1 reef in their mainsail. 80 years since they won this race. That's quite something, Tucker.
Wow. Let's bring Lauren back into the show down on the water. Lauren Zeich.
Guys, that was a pretty exciting start between having some boats push each other up and that port tack boat just barely squeaking across. I don't think anybody was over, but it seemed like Gesture was pretty close. And then afterwards, you got Christopher Dragon, I think that was the boat, stuck in between 2 others. There was a little bit of salty language that came off the bow, but I don't think they'll worry too much about it, and they might solve it over some dark and stormies when they get to Bermuda.
Salty language. I like it. I like that, Andy.
Salty language and sailors, I'm afraid. It's like, it's like hamburgers and ketchup. They go pretty well together, frankly.
Now, Andy, we've almost reached the end of our starting lineup. Just 2 more starts to go. Our 9th division is St. David's 1 and 2. And that's the second largest in this fleet with 20 boats ranging from 33 to 52 feet roughly. And I hear the St. David's Lighthouse Trophy is one of the most coveted prizes in this race.
Yeah. Good. We're going to have a great start right here. This is really a division to watch, and more than 60% of the fleet sails in this division. So it's fitting that the St. David's Lighthouse Trophy is largely considered the unofficial race winner.
There we go, upwind. Now, before we get to our 9th start, we have a special guest joining us here in the studio, Joe Cooper, former AC sailor in the 12 meters and offshore coach, and he's the Fleet Communications Officer. Joe, it's great to have you with us.
Thanks, guys.
First, tell
Good
us,
to be here.
what is the Fleet Communications Officer? What do you do for the regatta?
So the Fleet Comms Office is the switchboard between the race committee and the participants. Race committee wants to tell the participants something. For instance, weather. We send out commanders weather twice a day. It comes through us. We set it up, goes out on the offshore notice board. If the participants want to tell the race committee something, we're retiring, we want to protest somebody, it comes through us and we push it back out to the race committee. So we're like an old style small town switchboard, if you will.
Central comms for the whole fleet.
That's right.
And I realize that you're also an important link if there are emergencies.
Right. We don't have any action role, but we are definitely able to give assistance, connect people to the various assets that are available. Each boat gets a list of phone numbers for the RCCs, the Rescue Coordination Centers, the U.S. Coast Guard stations up and down the coast and out to Bermuda. We've been involved with, in 22, the unfortunate man overboard incident. In 24, the 2 boats that were sinking, we were involved in that. We don't get much. We don't have any assets to do anything.
Okay.
We can't go out and launch helicopters or anything, but we manage to get the information from the boats to the various relative authorities and support the safety role of the boats on the course.
Well, we appreciate the role that you guys provide, and I know that all of the sailors in the fleet do as well. And in addition to safety in this race, is also steeped in history, and Lauren had a chance to interview one of the newest inductees of the Newport Bermuda Race Roll of Honor. She is race historian Sheila McCurdy to tell us about the importance of this race to both her and the Cruising Club of America. Here's a look.
It's a few days before the start of the Bermuda Race, and I'm here with Sheila, and her boat behind me is Selkie. Sheila, thanks so much for joining me today.
It's my pleasure.
So you have a long history with the Bermuda Race. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, it's a great surprise to me when I realized that it's the 50th anniversary of my first race, which means I've been participating in half of the time of the Cruising Club of America and the Royal Bermuda Yacht Club collaborating on the race.
As the first and only female Commodore of the Cruising Club of America, tell us a little bit more about the importance of that organization to this race and this race to that organization.
The Cruising Club of America was very young when they started hosting the Bermuda Race, and very shortly thereafter became partners with the Royal Bermuda Yacht Club. It's curious that a cruising club would have an ocean race, and the reason for that is that the founding members believed that pushing a boat and a crew offshore in a race heightened seamanship skills and really displayed what kind of boats were good for the ocean. So they felt that the feedback they got from the race would be better for their members who are going off to all corners of the world on adventures.
Now, you're also the historian of this race and recently put out a book called High Seas and Home Waters. If I was to read that book, what would I learn?
Well, I hope you do read it. And you will find out that the Cruising Club was founded by people who loved adventuring at sea, but they also loved coming back together and telling each other their stories and forming fast friendships. The Cruising Club does not have a clubhouse. So what really holds the club together is this network of friendships over 100 years.
Well, thanks so much for speaking with me today. I look forward to following in the race and seeing you again in Bermuda.
Thanks so much.
Excellent. Well, and there we have pictures of Selkie right there as they prep with 3 minutes left to go. Great to see Sheila McCurdy in her 21st Newport Bermuda Race. Quite something there. Hailing from Middletown, Rhode Island. One of the pickers, if you don't know. Anyone from Newport, call people from Middletown the Middletown pickers. I guess it was because it was back in the day full of farms. Okay, we've got some other amazing boats here that we're just picking up on. Some boats to conjure with, that's for sure. Who's next up here?
Certainly some of the most famous names.
We got Dorade, the Sparkman and Stevens yawl, 52 feet, and that is one of offshore sailing's most endured legends. Dorade, Carina Dorade, Dragonfire, Invincible, Moondog, Phoenix, Rumble, Sassafras, Stormy Weather, Zell, and Escapado. That is our lineup for the penultimate start here off Fort Adams for the Newport Bermuda Race. This is wonderful. And we're going to just enjoy some of these great pictures. That is Carina, and Carina, a McCurdy and Rhodes, designed by Sheila's dad right there, 48 foot. And Reeves Potts and his family race this boat, and it holds the title of the most successful Bermuda racer in the past 50 years. How many times have they won? 5 times. Reeves Potts' ownerships include 2024 and multiple class victories, and he's sailing with both of his sons, Walker and Alan Potts, and his nephew Reeves. That is quite something.
Love it.
Good for them. They've got a reef in there. Prudence is on board as well.
Now, another boat you mentioned, Andy, is Dorade, and I think we might. Oh, there she is. Beautiful boat. I had a chance to talk to the late great Olin Stevens. Said this was one of his favorite designs of all the boats that he did. Dorade is one of the most famous boats of the Bermuda Race history for sure.
Yeah, it is. Dorade is quite. Look at that. We'll just keep eyes on Dorade right now because that is quite the beautiful boat. 1932 it won, and Matt Brooks and his late wife Pam Rourke have sailed this, and I have raced against them for the last 15 years. He races at almost every Newport Yacht Club regatta, and he debuted they debuted the boat in the 1930 Bermuda race and went on to win their division in 1932. And it returned to competitive racing, Bermuda Race 2012, 2014, 2018, and this time Matt Brooks returns once more with his son Bill on board. 25 seconds to go.
Looks like Karina's going to have a really good start here, Andy, down at the pit end. 20 seconds to go. Time on distance is crucial.
Yeah, Karina just putting the bow down, just wondering if they're a tiny bit early, but I don't think they are. Now you can see down on the leeward side, winding the jib in, winding the main in with a bit of tide under them. They're going to be good. There's a boat at the windward end that's going to be over. Oh, dear, but Karina pushing the bow down, keeping it safe. They're going to have to just...
There's the guy.
That sassafras over the line. Oh, dear, oh, dear. And just at the windward end, Dorade, there was the gun. Beautiful start from Karina.
So Sassafras getting a bit sassy as Karina careens across the line.
Oh, very good, Tucker. Wonderful. Our penultimate start. We're trying to get,
cool.
We're getting a little loose on the commentary team. But what a wonderful day. The sun's still out, the breeze is in, and these starts have tripped off the tongue, and we've only got one more left on this. It's 2026 Bermuda Race. What fun.
Yeah, hard to believe how quickly this has flown by. Let's fly down to the water with Lauren once again.
Hey guys, yeah, Sassafras was clearly over the line from this vantage point, which is too bad because they look like they're lined up well. You mentioned the breeze. I have a little handheld anemometer down here, and I just got 15 knots sustained, which is less than the 20 knots gusting that was predicted. So these boats don't appear to be shorting sail very much. They're really all fired up and powered up and headed down the bay again.
Love it. Yeah, she's right. Look at that puff, Andy. Breeze is building here in Narragansett Bay. Picture perfect start for this race.
Yeah, look at the white horses. There are sheep in the paddock, as the Kiwis would say, and some of the boats reefed up, but looking beautifully well sailed. I'm very impressed with the quality of seamanship and racing that's been going on here.
Absolutely.
There are some extremely well sailed boats here. Dorade, lovely. Look at that little handkerchief of a mizzen they've got up there, but that boat sailing, that boat is sailed to within an inch of its life. Every time we go racing, we race up and down Narragansett Bay on Onawa against them. We had Spartan as well. These are beautiful pictures. Well done to our team here at Race HQ for bringing us all these fantastic pictures. We hope you're enjoying it wherever you are around the world, and live here down at Fort Adams, where we've got thousands of people enjoying all the booths and the food trucks and all the hospitality here at Fort Adams.
Moon Dog. Looking pretty good down there to leeward. Holding off to the rest of the fleet to windward. Tight starts. Every start has been really, really top-notch, Andy, for the whole fleet. That's Tactile to windward. The blue boat. And she's luffing up a little bit. Does that probably mean that she's trying to squeeze the windward boat off and possibly getting closer to the rocks here off the left-hand shoreline?
Yeah, Moondog is CNC 115. That's Brian Abbott. Him again. He also from Barrington, Rhode Island. And look. Yeah, we've got double-handed soon enough to come up. We've got, just looking at Invincible, Inverness, Rumble, Dragonfire, the J99. As there's plenty of breeze.
Fantastic. Now, here's our final start. Hard to believe so quickly that we have reached the 10th and last division, the double-handed division. And, Joe, this is the fleet that you have so much experience with. What can we expect?
The driving force with the double-handed community is that because you have only 2 people on the boat, not 10 or 20 or 16 or 7, you really have to front-end load your planning and your preparation and your seamanship and your what can go wrong here thinking. So all of the double-handed guys have to do the safety at sea seminars as the fully crewed boats do, but they have to take the extra layer because if you're on a 40-foot boat with 10 or 11 people and something goes wrong, you've got a lot more horsepower to solve the problem. You know, a headsail goes over the side, a spinnaker breaks, the mast breaks, somebody goes overboard. You've got a lot more horsepower to help solve the problem than you do with only 2 people. You know, 2 people on board, somebody goes overboard, it's a problem exponentially huge.
And you know a lot of the boats in this fleet and a lot of the sailors, some of them that you have trained. Erica Lush on the right, is it?
Yes, Erica Lush is a Jamestown local. She has just come back from France after completing her 2nd participation in La Figaro Solitaire, which is the major event on the French single-handed training calendar. It's a historical race, and you get to go against the best solo sailors on the planet.
Okay, and she's racing with David Southwell, and they've raced in the 2024 original single-handed transatlantic race, the All-Star. So just 2 people on board each of these boats. That one there, Alchemy. David Southwell and Erica Lush. Erica, an incredibly accomplished captain skipper. Kenai, next boat up here, and that is the navy blue hull boat of Emmett Dickheiser and Kat Chimney from Port Chester, New York. They're no strangers to the Bermuda race. Kat and Emmett are taking on the double-handed division for the first time on board Kenai for double-handed. They've raced before this race fully crewed, but Kat has also won the Bermuda 1-2, and she won with Cole Brower in 2023. Any of you on Instagram will definitely know Cole Brower, a famous sailor of some note who sailed around the world all on her own just a few years ago. Who else have we got here? Pipe Dream J160 with Hank Halstead. Hank and his wife, Karina, are sailing on Pipe Dream. This boat's been circumnavigated 4 times, but Hank famously sailed to Bermuda with John Lennon.
Really?
Yep. Hank's got some stories, I can tell you. That is only one of the many stories
That's a new one.
that Hank has told me. If you've got a spare few days, he'll tell you all of them. A few weeks, maybe. Oh, look at this. Yeah. Yeah, very good.
Bella J, I think it is, right?
Bella J. And that is from Franklin, Tennessee. Last competed in 2020. 2010, I think.
Love the boat.
Yeah, Tony Giratana and Paul Kanev. Beautiful, very nice boat, that, isn't it?
It does look like a hard boat to double hand, though, when you think about it.
Oh, you know why that's a beautiful boat? It's a Hinckley. It's a Hinckley 52.
Wealth of knowledge, Andy is, isn't he?
He's just a mind, yeah.
I like the color. I like that color. That's somewhere between Bahama blue and duck egg blue. Very nice color they've got on that Hinckley 52. I'm sure someone from All Grip will inform me of the exact color. Pipe Dream ahead of us, J160. That's Hank Halstead. We were just talking about him and his wife. Hank hailing from Exeter, Rhode Island. That boat's done over 200,000 miles.
Quick question for Joe. Quick answer. Yeah. Who's your money on in this fleet? Who will win?
It's Hennessy here in Scowling Dragon is a pretty good odds-on to be first to finish in the double-handed class. After that, it goes to the handicap. I don't think the Class 40 score very well under the handicapping.
Mike Hennessy and Christopher Skinner, that's their Class 40. The Scowling Dragon. He's had a bunch of boats called something Dragon. And we've also got another Class 40 Res Potentia, and that is
Kurt Rauschenbach.
Kurt Rauschenbach and Nicholas McGee.
Correct. Yeah, Kurt's a little bit new to the double-handed scene. He came out of a J44, and memory serves, he got a little bit sort of burnt out with trying to wrestle up 12 to 14 guys to go sailing, and I think he saw the advantages of double-handed sailing in that he only had to make a couple of phone calls to get one crew.
Yeah, very good.
Minute 45 coming up.
Yeah, we've got also Tiger Blood, a Sunfast 3300 with Ned Oakley and Rob Miles, hailing from Brooklyn, New York. Is Rob Miles? I thought he's from Connecticut Island, isn't he, Rob? Anyway, we've also got Moon Shadow, John Bell and Jill Westcott from Green Cove Springs, Florida.
Actually, Andy, on the subject of who might win, a 3300 won the double-handed fleet in the 24 race. So, you know, there's another boat to take a look at. They were purpose designed for this sort of sailing.
Yeah, we've got Young America on the J105, the Young American Sailing Academy. Peter Becker has been instrumental in making that a real thing of note, hailing from Rye, New York. And it was modified for shorthand sailing. It's competed in 10 races to and from Bermuda, the Bermuda 1-2, and Peter often sails the boat back again. Peter Becker and Adrian Blank.
One of the elements in the Young America program is Adrian is just now turned 22 a couple of days ago. And in 21, he was bringing the boat up from New York to Newport in his qualifier to sail the solo leg of the Bermuda 1-2. And he experienced fire on board.
Oh, that's not good.
No, 20 seconds to go here to the start, and the Class 40 there, that's the Scowling Dragon. They look in pretty good shape. Gibbs are rolled out. But I'm seeing good sailing all the way around the fleet here. Very impressive. Scowling Dragon just putting their bow down now with 5 seconds to go to the start. Look at that thing take off, and it's a Scowling Dragon. I like that. That is very clever because the bow is a scow-shaped bow. It's a new design, newish in the last 10 years, that these offshore single-handed and double-handed boats actually scow the bow a bit so that it doesn't quite as tight and pinched as some of the more traditional boats. Well, there we go.
Yeah.
Double-handed is off.
Well, we'd like to thank Joe for joining us. And as you mentioned, we certainly hope there's no fire on board any of these boats in this race. But this last gun has just fired. The last start is underway. Andy, it has gone by so quickly. And we really appreciate you guys joining us. Now, there are different ways that you can follow this race over the next few days. The starts might be over, but of course, the action is not. You can follow the daily Gulfstream show every day from June 20 through 24 at 5 p.m. Eastern. They'll be broadcasting live from the race. It's kind of like the evening news for the race, if you will. A daily show brings together updates from the fleet, expert analysis, real stories from out in the Gulfstream in the middle of the ocean. We'd like to thank Palm Beach Motor Yachts, presenting partner of this. The new Gulfstream show will be broadcast aboard a Palm Beach 70, which is on their way out there as the fleet heads into the ocean, leaving Narragansett Bay. Now, you can also follow video broadcasts posted on BermudaRace.com, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. You can also track the fleet in real time. Andy, you can download an app on YB Races app. That's a Palm Beach Motor Yachts tracker, so you can follow who's doing well in the Gulfstream, and then that's also available on BermudaRace.com. Now, on social media, follow at Bermuda Race across Facebook, Instagram, the YouTube channel, and the YouTube's going to broadcast the final prize-giving ceremony. And stay up to date with the leaderboard on BermudaRace.com. Andy, what a show it's been.
Yeah, let's just go down to Lauren for a last couple of words from On the Water. Lauren, give us your closing words.
Hey guys, thank you. It seems weird out here. There's only, 10, 12 boats when there was 150, but it's been a great race. I do see that Kent Racing appears to be having a little bit of trouble. They don't have their head sail up and haven't crossed the line yet, but everybody else looks well underway, and rails in the water. Can't wait to see them all when we get down to Bermuda.
Thank you, Lauren. And I know you're going to be following this fleet and doing the broadcast from the Gulfstream show throughout the next few days. So we wish you the best of luck with that. That's going to be quite an effort, I got to say. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this 2026 Newport Bermuda Race is officially underway, and the entire fleet is now pointed towards Bermuda. To get there, of course, they're going to have to contend with challenging weather, the ever-changing Gulf Stream currents, and keep the throttle down for days on end before arriving in the tropical paradise of Bermuda, where a hot shower and a cold, dark, and stormy awaits the fleet. Andy?
That is right, and one of my favorite places in the world, the Royal Bermuda Yacht Club. These boats will check through customs and then all make it down to the yacht club for a very well-earned drink, maybe even a dark and stormy.
Ginger beer was introduced to Bermuda by the British Navy. They began producing it in the Royal Naval Dockyard and selling the ginger beer to the locals. It didn't take long for the locals to figure out what the ginger beer was missing. A little splash of the local rum. Gosling's trademarked the name Dark and Stormy in the early 80s, and it gets its name from when the rum floats on top of the ginger beer. It looks like a storm cloud, and either a fool or a dead man would sail under.
What a great way to close out the show, Andy, as the fleet heads to Bermuda for their cold, dark, and stormies. We want to thank Goslings for our ice cold, dark, and stormies. That's a close. That's a wrap, Andy. Cheers. Before you drink it.
Cheers.
Cheers. Hold on. Pause for our sponsor beverage. Thank you very much, Goslings. Thanks to all the teams for keeping the tradition of this Newport to Bermuda race alive. We want to thank the sponsors. I had a little bit of rum in my throat there. Thanks to the sponsors for making this event possible. Thanks to Ørsted for making our coverage possible, of course. We want to thank all of our special guests. And, of course, Andy Green and Lauren Zeich out there on the water. Thanks to our entire production crew. And thanks to all of you for watching live here at Fort Adams or online around the world. Of course, you can see replays of our Starting Line live show presented by Ørsted. Well, the end of the show is here, but the beginning of another historic Newport Bermuda race is underway. We hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. I'm Tucker Thompson.